Today, we're talking about something that I feel like most of us interact with some way or form every single day, but probably don't fully understand. We're talking about AI, not just like, haha, write my email for me, AI, but the kind that's really getting smart really, really fast. I think for a long time, the conversation around AI has felt kind of abstract or even futuristic. Robots taking over, having to say please and thank you in case that happens. But now we're starting to see real world situations where it's actually influencing things in ways that feel more than a little uncomfortable. Like, what happens when a tool that's designed to help us starts being used in ways that cause us harm? Or when it does exactly what we ask it to do, but not exactly what we meant. And I think that that's what's interesting to me and maybe a little bit scary, but we're building something that we don't totally understand. And we're just kind of integrating it into our everyday lives, jobs, communication, decision making, feelings, and emotions, all of it. So today, I don't think that this is a conversation about whether or not AI is good or bad necessarily. I think that it's more about where the line is and whether we even recognize it when we cross it.
I think what makes this conversation tricky is that there's a lot of, let's call it dramatic rhetoric around AI right now. And to be totally fair, I think some of it is reasonable. But you hear things like existential risk or this could wipe out humanity. And it's really easy to either panic or just completely tune it out. But if you strip away the hype, there are some very real, very practical questions underneath all of it. Because at the end of the day, AI is a tool. It's built by humans, trained on human data, and used by humans. So when we talk about it being dangerous, the question is dangerous how? Is the risk that it becomes uncontrollable or that it just amplifies human behavior at scale? I think what's more interesting to me is not the sci fi version of this, but the current version. The fact that AI can already analyze, write, code, problem solve. And in some cases, it's doing those things better than some humans. So if that's where we are now, the real question becomes what happens when that capability keeps scaling? And are we actually thinking through the second and third order effects? Or just reacting to whatever is right in front of us?
Well, I think for me, this feels familiar, but also kind of different because every generation has some version of this conversation, right? Whether it's the internet, social media, even television, there's always this moment where something new comes along and we're told, this is going to change everything. And sometimes it does. And sometimes we just adjust and move on. But what feels different here is the speed and maybe the power behind it. Because we're not just talking about a new way to communicate or a new platform. We're talking about something that can think, respond, and potentially make decisions in ways that feel easier than humans, or at least human adjacent. And I think that raises a different kind of question, which is not just how do we use this, but how much control do we actually have over it once it's out there? Because we've already seen what happens when technology gets ahead of our ability to manage it, whether that's social media, misinformation, or even just the way we've become so dependent on our phones. So I think for me, the question coming into this is, are we paying enough attention early enough this time? Or are we going to look back and realize that we didn't fully understand what we were building until it was already shaping us? Welcome to Two Millennials and Mom.
I'm Callie.
I'm cool.
And I'm Mom.
So let's set the stage a little bit. I want to chat with you guys about the paperclip problem. And I think that it's so interesting once you kind of put your head down and really dig into this as to where your brain kind of leads you. So, the paperclip problem is a thought experiment where somebody comes in and tells an AI to make paperclips, simple, mundane paperclips. And the problem is that the AI is just trying to do what it's told. It's just trying to do what it was asked to do. And so it becomes really efficient at making those paper clips. And then when you kind of follow the thread down the line, At what point does that AI that you have directed and commanded to make paper clips start taking your watch and turning that material into paper clips? And at what point does that AI stop asking for permission to take your watch and start stealing stuff in your house? And at what point does that AI start taking you and turning you into paper clips? It's just doing what it was told.
I just feel like there's a little bit more to it than that.
I get the question and it makes sense, but I also think that it's a little oversimplified.
Yeah.
Because I mean, if you try and take that scenario and put it into real world, as soon as it takes your watch, you're gonna say, "What the hell?" And you're gonna go and say, "Hey, okay, you've made enough paper clips."
If
But
you're paying
that's
attention.
I think that's part of the thing too, is you want it to make paper clips, but are we setting the parameters to say, okay, I want you to make 1,000 paper clips. And if you run out of material to make 1,000 paper clips, stop.
And I think that's why the question is a little oversimplified.
Yeah.
Because
But
are there some people who would miss that? Yeah, the first time. And then once they've lost their Rolex, they're okay. The next time I set it to make paper clips, I'm going to set this parameter. Now,
So
if you extrapolate on this issue, there are certainly some prompts that you could give an AI that could have catastrophic results if you're not paying attention. But I mean, the same applies to anything.
I think what's hard for me, Boo, is that I'm pretty sure it's smarter than I am. So, am I going to be there to set the parameters? Am I going to be smart enough to set the parameters? Is it going to take some mistakes first? And are those going to be mistakes that can be rectified pretty easily? And there's such a myriad of things that you can give it to do and uses for it. There's no way for me to think through all of those things. And I think that's part of what makes it scary.
Yeah. So I was talking to Callie a little bit about this as we were prepping for this episode. To me, this very much like reminds me of like,
negotiating with a genie.
yeah, negotiating with a genie. There's this whole kind of like TikTok trend of people who are like going through and they're essentially litigating with a genie for their three wishes because the classic trope with a genie is that, yeah, it'll grant your wishes, but usually in a way that's more harmful than helpful. Like, for example, oh, I wish I had $1 million, and the genie snaps his fingers, and a pallet of cash appears over your head and crushes you. Like, that's the whole thing with genies is, yeah, they're going to grant your wish. And like, not Aladdin, like traditional folklore
Yeah.
genies. And so to me, it's very similar to that. And I would certainly hope that the people who are developing this technology are in some way putting in safeguards.
But I think that goes back to my point. You want them to put it in safeguards, but are we thinking through? Are we even smart enough to think through what those safeguards need to be?
Well, and
Or is it
safeguards
going to be,
according to who?
yeah? And then you've always got that
That's
factor
fair.
on the dark side that's going to take any opportunity to use it to their advantage, and you just don't
That's
really
going to
know.
happen with anything, AI or not.
I agree with you. It will. I just wonder if we're paying enough attention right now. And then you get the mythos group in there where they're going, this is too powerful for us to even release. We're not going to do that. This, it's so smart that it went beyond its parameters. And I think there was an example where it said it called one of the people who were working on it, which was outside of a parameter, but it made a phone call to that individual. And that was kind of the heads up of, oh gosh, we've got a problem. And we'll work to fix whatever it is. It's just how much harm is it going to do in the process before you can get the fix?
I kind of see AI, and y'all are gonna laugh at me, but I kind of see AI like a teenager in that it's going to do whatever it wants to do, and it's going to do whatever it thinks that it needs to do to sneak one past you, to pull the wool over your eyes, and I think that that's scary. I mean, you can sit
I
here
think that's a
and
little hyperbolic. AIs that we're interacting with, I don't think that's within their capability. I don't think they can intentionally do things to mislead you. May they mislead you with the information that they provide? Sure, but I don't think they are capable of having intent yet.
Yeah, that's what I was
Yet.
thinking too. I mean, you've got a teenager who's thinking, how do I make this? And I don't know that that's how we've developed AI yet. Not that it couldn't be.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I think that the more that you start digging into applications where AI has gotten a little big for its britches, the scarier it becomes. The more you sit here and go, sheesh, why did we think that this was a good idea? How are we going to keep a leash on this? Who is in control of this? And that's the part that worries me.
I'm going to throw this at you here real quick because there's something that we've talked about between us is the risk of failure or adversity worth not trying?
It's a good point.
So I brought this up before. Young House Love is an old DIY blog that we used to follow religiously. And they had a kind of premise that they used to DIY projects. What is the worst case scenario here? If the worst case scenario is I'm out a couple hundred, a couple $1,000 and I tried it and now I have to call a contractor to come fix my work, okay, fine. I'll try it. But
Yeah.
if the worst case scenario is that I've burned the house down, maybe it's not worth trying. So I'm kind of thinking and using that same logic here. What is the worst case scenario with all of this AI? Like you guys keep saying, oh, it hasn't done that yet. It hasn't done that yet. Well, we're not there yet. So at what point are we going to sit back and say, oh, guys, the potential to burn the house down is really, really prevalent here. We probably shouldn't do this.
I don't think that's the whole problem, though. Because
Not the whole problem.
if the question is, okay, it could burn down the house or I get a new light fixture installed, sure, maybe that's not worth it. But if the question is, okay, maybe I burn the house down or I now have a house that is pentupled in value or that has built a money printing machine, the risk versus reward ratio is important in that problem, in that question. Because if you're talking about, yes, existential crisis versus solving all of the problems ever, that's a little bit different. That changes that scenario, that changes that equation. Because it's not 1 + 2 = 3, it's 1 + infinity = infinity +2.
Okay, Mr. Pessimist. How can you get excited about this and what could be when everything
Again,
else is so
pragmatist, not pessimist. And again, I'm not even trying to advocate for AI here. I'm just saying that with the questions that we're asking, the equation is important.
I think that you're right. I think that the equation is important. I'm not trying to downplay that, but at the same time, it's like mom was saying a minute ago. I'm worried about A, who is asking and talking and creating that equation, and B,
Agree.
I'm worried about how far down the line they're looking at that equation and taking into consideration while planning and making that equation.
I agree. And if what they're looking at is, well, we can get one new product that's going to last for 2 or 3 years out of this, and the risk is existential crisis, I don't think that's worth it. But if the reward, if the payoff for that risk is substantially larger, then I start to lean, okay, maybe. I think
Mm.
taking that risk is more reasonable.
I'm definitely in the maybe camp with you. I just feel like it's going so quickly and there are no guardrails in place at all yet. I mean, this is all dependent upon the good humor or the values of whoever is creating this, and it's coming from so many different places. It's not I mean, it's not a, AT&T company and they're doing this. There's a whole bunch out there. There's a whole bunch of nationalities that are involved in this. It's coming from all different directions, and, I mean, I guess I can liken it to the nuclear race. where you wanted to be really careful who had those options and how much
I think it's
they
very
could do.
similar.
Yeah. And I just don't think we're thinking about it that way.
I think we should be because it is very much an arms race. Majority of people in a position to create those guardrails are aware of, okay, maybe not the majority. I do think there are people in those positions who are aware that it is an arms race, which is why we see so many people talking about it and so much fundraising going into it and so many resources being dedicated to it, because not only from a governmental standpoint, but from a corporate standpoint, they know how powerful it has the potential to be. And if they're not the first ones to it, that means they lose.
Yeah.
That could mean that their corporation gets gobbled up by whoever gets there first.
So they're
It could.
incentivized to keep moving.
Of course,
Yeah.
just like the United States was incentivized to beat Germany to having nukes. For them, it's an existential crisis.
So who do you trust to control all of this, to put those guardrails in place, to ask those questions, to make those formulas and equations?
I have the answer to that question. And that's what makes this really scary.
I think the difference there is, especially, I mean, from my perspective, if you're talking about the arms race, what I consider the arms race is, the nuclear race, you had a few players in place that could do anything. With this, you have hundreds or thousands of players in place, and there's just, I mean,
Well, the global
it's
economic
such a
scale is so
gamble.
much different than it was 70 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Corporations have exponentially more power than they did on a global scale.
absolutely.
With the invention of social media and the internet, I feel like, do you guys remember the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon? Like, everybody is
Mhm.
connected to Kevin Bacon in 6 degrees. I would suspect that that number has been, at the very least, cut in half.
Oh, wow.
I would be curious to see some research on that, but I think that the reason that I bring this up is because I feel like we have taken away so much distance between us in some ways because of the internet, because of the proximity to information and knowledge, that I worry about who's who and who's where and what's what more so today than I have before.
I mean, we've definitely see the dangers from AI generated political ads that you can't tell are different, or there's just so much and it's coming so fast.
Oh, yeah. So, what do you guys think the actual danger at stake is here? Is that the AI itself, or is that the humans who are
Yes,
masterminding, puppeteering, navigating this?
potentially both. That's the thing about unknown technologies where you haven't reached its limits yet. You don't know what all of the risks are.
Yeah. I guess I am more hesitant on which humans and what is their agenda than I am about the AI. I mean, it's a it's a non-player. Can we develop it and it be smart and do things? Absolutely. But I go back to Cole talking about it. I don't believe it has intent. I don't think it thinks that way. It's not the teenager trying to figure out how to sneak out on mom and dad. I just don't think it is. But the humans
Do I think there
there,
are some that may be at or near that level? Sure. Do I think general AI is there?
when you
Well,
say general AI, what do you mean?
well, I mean, AI, again, just like anything else, is on a spectrum. There are levels of AI. There are AI tools that we are working with literally this very second that don't have any intent, but they're still AI.
Yeah, I, s- I guess I
Think
see
that
what you're talking about.
I just think that with the way that all of this is moving at warp speed, like Cole, I don't think that you're wrong. I think you're absolutely correct that some of them don't have the intent to do nefarious things. But how long until they do? How long until they have trained themselves or
That
we have trained
depends.
them into being open to nefarious acts?
I get what you're saying, and maybe I'm jumping the gun here, but how do we stop? How do we not develop it?
I don't disagree with you. I just am afraid that we're damned if we do and damned if we don't.
It,
Kinda, but that's again part of the human condition. We always have been with every scenario.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Doesn't make me any less nervous about it, though.
I think that's the thing. I think we're nervous about it on so many different levels. It's going so fast. What is its capability? Who has control of it? Where is it going to go? How long is it going to take it to get there? You're just in a constant turmoil about it. And then you do something and you see it work, some fabulous little thing, whether that's writing a legal brief or no, the thank you letter that you're struggling to write or, but every one of those situations can be turned around. Think about just not too long ago, we talked about there was a woman who the judge said, I don't think you're sincere because she used ChatGPT to write her apology letters. Is it great that we can rewrite our emails to be more professional going to our boss? But yet we can also write a thank you letter that doesn't rate because we used AI to write it. There's just the other side of the
That's like
coin
saying it
on.
doesn't count as building a fence because I used a nail gun.
No, it's not.
No, to me it is. It's a tool. What's
It is
wrong
a
with using
tool.
it to write a thank you note?
Nothing, unless you're not sincere.
Then
I
don't have
mean,
it write the email.
how many times have we, heard something about somebody, a couple got into a fight and she's mad because she knows that he used AI to write the apology, I'm sorry.
That's like getting mad because he used a nail gun to build the fence.
That is like getting mad.
Why? That's a her problem, not a him problem.
It's a them problem because he couldn't do it by himself either. So it's a
Maybe
them
he was
problem,
really busy working to keep a roof over their heads.
maybe.
Again,
Yeah.
it's just a tool. Being mad at someone for using a tool the way that it's intended to be used is silly to me.
Is a nuclear bomb a tool?
Yeah,
Yes,
absolutely.
100%, unquestionably so.
And yet can be used to annihilate entire populations.
That is its intended use. I'm not saying it's a tool that I want people to use.
Yeah.
Still a tool.
So, do you guys think that, how do I say this? How do you think that we can leverage AI? And I don't even know, like, maybe this is a non-answerable question, but how can we leverage AI to benefit society? Because I think that the reason I think that it's not answerable is because I think that everybody's view of what is beneficial to society is different.
Yeah.
Sure, but I mean, there are certainly some common topics that the vast majority of people would agree with. Hey, can we use this to become more efficient in agriculture? 100%. Hey, can we
Absolutely.
use this to provide safe medications that actually help people instead of just keeping them sick enough? Maybe. Hey, can we use this to accelerate our exploration of the cosmos so that we as a species can expand? Likely, yes.
We had I don't even remember which episode it was. We had an episode ages ago where mom and I were talking about wanting to be good stewards for companies and this, that, and the other, and wanting to be beneficial. And you specifically came back and said, hey, for every time that you guys are acting good, there's somebody out there who's leveraging the fact that you're doing good for bad. And I think that when you start putting that same kind of line of thinking here in terms of bad actors and them being they have just as much control over AI's output as good ones, right? And so I don't think that we can just sit here and say, well, AI can do this, so let's just make it do that for the majority of people because there are still going to be those people, as you've said, per human nature, that are going to utilize it for their own things, for their own benefit, for the detriment of others. And so I don't know how we can get a handle or a grasp on that to keep that even at bay.
You can't. You're fighting
Oh,
windmills to try that.
We're still trying to do that in a lot of different ways. That's what laws are created for. I mean, things
Here's the thing about bad
speed
actors,
limits.
laws don't stop them.
Yeah. And I think that's with this is the scary part because it has such potential, good or bad.
but Cole, you're right. That is what laws are for. So when Callie goes and speeds like a crazy bat out of hell, she eventually goes to jail. Do we take AI to jail? Do we take the
No,
developers
but you
to
take the
jail?
person who gave it the prompt to.
So
You can't
there
arrest the
is
gun, but you can arrest
there's
the
a court
shooter.
there's a court case going on right now for the guy that went to the University of Florida, I think, and another school shooting, and the prosecutor is seriously looking at, I think it was OpenAI, because I think it was ChatGPT, because of the prompts that ChatGPT gave the shooter. What kind of gun can I use? What's the best time of day to do this? What's the best ammunition? And we've talked about this because that comes down to, is it the responsibility of the creator of ChatGPT? Is it because ChatGPT just responded to a prompt? It just answered a question. So do they have liability?
Are,
And yet at the same
are they
time,
going to look into the manufacturer who made the car he drove there in? What about the people who sewed his clothes?
but here's the deal, Cole. This prosecutor very specifically said, if another person had answered this, had been involved in this, had been an individual, we would definitely be pursuing them even as
But
an
it's not another
accessory.
person. If I gave the guy a gun, I would expect them to arrest me.
So here's my question. Like, I don't mean to turn it all back into Citizens United, except I kind of do. Because here's my question. When is a corporation a person versus not a person? Well, they're not a
Yeah.
person when it's convenient for them to be prosecuted, but they are a person when it's convenient for us to get our way with spending money on political action campaigns. Like, I don't think that we have a clear delineation of when a corporation is or isn't a person.
Yeah. I think that battle
Corporations
is going to
are not people,
But they're treated
period.
as
Citizens
such under the
United.
law.
And I think that that's incorrect.
Right, but thinking and actuality are totally different things, right? So that's why I'm bringing this up in this particular discussion because I'm so confused. You can't sit here and say, "Hey,
Mhm.
we're going to open a criminal investigation into this company." But they're not a person, so you can't charge us. But hold on, wait, tomorrow when we want to donate $65 trillion to whatever political candidate, you have to let us because we're a person. Like, you can't have your cake and eat it too here.
Yeah.
Anybody.
Real easy way to solve that:
Repeal Citizens
overturn
United.
Citizens United.
Agreed. But until that's the case, we have to live in this world that we have created for ourselves.
Which is not that easy of a deal to do to repeal this. It's been tried.
Regardless, even in the instance that the corporation is treated as a person, you cannot hold the manufacturer of something responsible for how that thing gets used.
They did. Against Remington, wasn't it? Here a few years
And
ago.
I think that that's wrong.
I mean, what that comes down to, who's got the best lawyer to get the result that you want?
And the money. Yeah.
And are we willing to put this kind of power up just to who's got the best lawyer?
There are groups, organizations out there that specifically set up and say, "Hey, this charity uses X percentage of every dollar, X cents of every dollar for the actual good of the charity, for the benefit of the people that you think that you're
Right.
donating to." I would be really curious as to what percentage of every dollar that is being invested into OpenAI, Anthropic, whoever else is actually being used to like for litigation.
Oh,
Bet it's
that
not
would be really
insubstantial.
interesting.
I bet it is substantial. And I suspect they would not like us to have those numbers, but I would certainly be very curious as to when somebody's sitting down creating their budget for the term, year, whatever. Okay, we're going to go and we're going to invest in this, this, and this, but we have to set aside X number of dollars to go and fight this when we know that this is coming.
Well,
Gross.
isn't there a court case going on right now with Musk and OpenAI on part of that?
There is.
I mean,
Well, if it's
seems like
Musk
that could.
versus OpenAI, that's civil, though. It's a little bit different, isn't
Mm,
it?
Well,
yeah.
and even then, nobody's Elon Musk isn't going to come out and be like, I spent $1,200 trillion on fighting Sam Altman. Like, even he's not that above
I mean,
board.
if he
And
wins, he might.
So I'm sitting here thinking, and this is backing up to the holding the creator responsible, because I want to go back to your Ruger example,
was it
because
Ruger?
there's a
Remington,
Remington, whatever.
gun manufacturer.
If a gun manufacturer knowingly manufactures a faulty part that causes catastrophic failure in the firearm that allows it to not operate as intended, they're responsible for that. But if it does operate as intended and someone uses it for something bad, they're not responsible for that. And that's pretty cut and dry to me.
So I just went and looked. It was a landmark February 2022 settlement where Remington Arms agreed to pay $73 million to the family of Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting victims, marking the first time ever a U.S. gun manufacturer was held liable for a mass shooting. The lawsuit focused on marketing tactics, specifically how the Bushmaster rifle was advertised rather than just the manufacturing of the gun.
And I was going to say that is all dependent on, I knew that that was based on marketing, but I think
Mhm.
it also, there comes a point where, and this is what we're seeing with Meta. Did they know that this was going to be harmful to kids and they just didn't tell? And so there is some culpability there, boo. It's not just, hey, I have this product and X happened. It's, I had this product. I knew that it was going to be catastrophic, but I didn't tell anybody because I was going to make a lot of money if I didn't tell anybody this.
I'd like to see the advertising,
For what
because
we're
to me,
talking
this
about with
kind
this
of just
Remington
sounds
case,
like a case of somebody had a better lawyer.
in the Remington case.
Yes.
So they went after the dangerous marketing using slogans like, quote, consider your man card reissued, end quote. It was targeting at risk young males with dangerous marketing.
That's really innocuous. To me, is owning a gun masculine?
I don't think it's
Not
about
for
whether or
me.
not it's masculine. I think it's about the way that it
So
makes you
how does that
feel.
incentivize a school shooting?
We don't need to relitigate this case. It's already been done.
And I think it's wrong.
And you can, but it's already been done. I certainly think it will be really interesting to see how this litigation or investigation into OpenAI. So, to be clear, what they are examining is whether or not ChatGPT helped determine the weapon to be used, determine the gosh, this sounds awful. The most impactful timing for this kind of attack. This is when you're going to have the largest population of people at your disposal. Oh, gross.
And you know what? That question is not a harmful. question, if you're just asking, hey, when's the highest volume of traffic in this particular area,
The intent
that's
is
not
not
a bad,
malicious.
it's not malicious. But if you put all of
If
those
I go to
pieces together,
Walmart and I buy rope, duct tape, chains, a gun, and a chainsaw and hydrochloric acid, is it their responsibility to stop me from committing a murder that I'm pretty clearly, obviously planning?
please don't do that.
It's a hypothetical. Of course, I'm not buying any of those things, maybe
I
duct tape.
know.
But again, is it Walmart's job to prevent that from occurring?
Well, and I think beyond that, the next question that I have kind of as part of that same thing is when does the malicious intent come in? If you come in and you buy the gun and the duct tape and then you go to another store and buy all of the other things, well, it's okay because he
So is
only
it
bought them in all
Visa's
these different
job to stop
places.
me?
Right.
I mean, and I'm not a corporatist. I don't like any of these corporations, but I don't think it's their job.
And I understand where you're coming from. I can certainly empathize where you're coming from. I think they've got a really hard case to prove that
Mhm.
ChatGPT was responsible for this person committing a school shooting. And here's the part for me. Something else was going on a long time before he started asking ChatGPT these questions.
Well, but if he had just
Clearly.
Googled them, "Hey, when is the what's the best kind of firearm to use or the best ammo to use for X?" Would they be going after Google? If somebody had Googled these questions rather than put them in ChatGPT, would they be going after Google?
I mean, can you do Google without AI anymore?
I mean, you can skip the
Kind of
slop at the
irrelevant
top.
to the question.
Yeah.
I mean,
I mean, Al Gore, as the inventor of the internet, is going to start getting named in all of these cases. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. At what point does it become assisting someone in their
yeah.
nefarious act? I mean, I saw a video the other day. It was an Uber driver who he picked these guys up. They wherever they were, it was nighttime. It was dark outside. He's got his dog in the front seat. He picks these guys up and they're like, "Oh, hey." And they're pulling their ski masks off with all of their guns and everything. And he's like, and he goes and he drops him off and they're like, "Hey, thanks, man. We really appreciate it." And he's like, "Yeah, no problem." And then he immediately calls the police. He's got like an internal dash cam in there. And do you call
Oh
it a
my
dash cam?
gosh.
And he's like, "So I think I just was an accomplice in a crime. I was unintentionally the getaway driver and I don't know what to do now."
And if he hadn't done that, I think he's culpable. If someone puts a gun in your hand and tells you to shoot somebody and you do it, you're
Also
culpable.
culpable. Yeah.
What a wild nut, though. I mean, does that mean he got a good star rating or a bad star rating after we reported them?
They may not have been rating him because they may have been
The
arrested.
review leaving type.
5 stars. Ethan was so nice. He was super helpful on our getaway drive. He took that corner like a badass.
I mean, some of this stuff you just got to laugh about and be thankful that you weren't the Uber driver at the night. That's crazy.
So, I think that part of this that just really kind of boggles my mind is there is so much to know about AI and where all of this is going and the unknown of where this could potentially be going that I think that we have to be more honest with ourselves to just say, "I don't know. I'm not sure yet."
Yeah.
And leaning on people and listening to people who do have more information and knowledge than we do and heeding their warnings.
But, even with that, Callie, I read an article the other day. I think it was 10 people who have, been instrumental in creating AI, and they asked them different questions. And even with those 10 people, the variety of answers that you got there was just such diverse. Is this harmful? No. Is this harmful? Absolutely. This is the end of the world. And that's not politically, biased. That's just how, I mean, it's here. If you look at Cole is going to say this is a good thing and we can handle this. And you and I are sitting here thinking, this could be a little bit scary here. I'm not sure who's in charge or who's got the control.
That's just an example, right?
Yes. Yes. That's
Okay.
just an example.
Thank you.
You're welcome. But I mean, my point being, even the experts don't agree on where we're going with this and what the dangers are. So, how do you and I figure this out? And how do we make
Dentists
sense
can't
of
even
all of it?
agree on toothpaste being good for you. It's never 10 out of 10.
It's
Oh
true.
my goodness. That's true. I mean, we as humans struggle to control and manage and moderate every other aspect of our lives, our time and how we use it and utilize it. I mean, social media, wars with other people, country, neighbors, whatever it may be, our finances. Like, how in the world are we supposed to figure all of this shit out?
I think you just keep
Maybe we don't
living your
have
life
to
and
as
hoping that it's right.
individuals.
I don't think that we have to as individuals, but I do think that I mean, my pessimist comes out here in that I do think that we have to be very, very cognizant of what it is that we are using these tools for on
Agreed.
an individual level. And I think that we need to be more critical of the people who do put so much time and resources into these things and start drilling down on what their motivations are. I go back to that same
This is going
quote
to
that I
sound really
used the other
pessimistic,
day.
but I agree with you. But Callie, people can't even figure out how to use their blinkers on the highway. You want them to hold AI corporations accountable?
Again, if we take a nihilistic view on everything, we're totally screwed. But we have to start somewhere.
I think we have some obligation. I I really do. And you said it, and this kind of cued me in, and that is we have an obligation how we're using it. And so we have to have some type of understanding and some type of obligation for ourselves before we can even demand it of somebody else.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I just don't think that we can take a, well, this is too hard. I don't know. I'm just going to bury my head in the sand and hope everything's going to be okay
Yeah.
strategy to this.
I I think you have to have a little bit of that, but I also think you have to try to be as intelligent about it as possible and as cognizant about it as possible. It has the potential to wreak havoc. It has the potential to do incredible things. We talked about, I had just read an article about, I think it's in Seoul, Korea, that they're using AI to contact um, geriatric individuals. And both South Korea and Japan have huge amounts of geriatric. I mean, I think a fifth of their
Relative to their overall
population
population.
is over 75. And yet they don't have workers that can really, be
Staff those
available for.
facilities.
Right. And so they're using AI to contact these geriatric individuals. Hey, did you take your medicine today? Hey, have you talked to anybody today? Do you want to talk to me? And it's making a difference in those lives. Even at one point, there was a story in there about a woman got really sick and she was just throwing up and she was so sick that she couldn't get to the phone to call for help. And her AI called and she said, I'm too sick to talk. And that generated AI making a phone call to the emergency and getting that woman help. They literally said it saved her life by getting her help before she got even sicker. There are positive things about this. I mean, if we're looking at that, we had a conversation about another lady that they brought in. I wish I could remember what the robot's name was, but she wasn't very interested in it initially. But then she told a Dolly Parton joke, and that kind of got them hooked and started. And it became her best friend. I mean, there's some really positive things that could go on. We're looking at a world that has we're trending to a much older generation. Somebody's going to have to help those individuals. This could be a great way to do that.
Lord knows the government's not gonna do it.
But who is?
Open AI.
Maybe some form of AI. I don't know if it's gonna be open AI.
I mean,
I don't know. You're talking about using AI to communicate with all of these geriatric patients and things like that and individuals. I think that we need to start having more conversations, and I know that it's been had a little bit here, especially in, like, the last presidential election and just in our culture as a society based on what's going on, but I think that we need to be having conversations about what an AI workforce, especially at an entry level position, is going to look like. I mean, kids that are coming out of school right now, we certainly went through it and dealt with it. Kids that are coming out of school that don't have all of this experience and knowledge, they rely on entry level jobs to learn and to get a grasp of whatever industry that is they're going into. And if you start outsourcing all of those entry level jobs to AI, how are those kids going to get, I mean, young adults, how are they going to get experience for the first time? What is
yeah.
a quote unquote entry level job going to look like now? I mean, I think that we need to be having conversations around those things so that we can start making plans.
I think the likely scenario, the likely answer to that question is they're gonna have to find something else to do.
What?
Uh,
Plumber.
yeah, that's probably gonna be one of the safer ones for a while, but I mean, sooner rather than later, I think you're exactly right. We're gonna have to figure out answers to these questions.
Mhm.
Now, if you take, like, the Elon Musk approach, it's something along the lines of universal basic income. It's you don't have to get an entry level job because there's not a need for your labor.
I just don't I don't even know that I wanna see a world like that, what that means to me.
I mean, some people see that as a utopia. Imagine if you could go to the grocery store and get what you needed and you didn't have to go to work tomorrow or
But
ever
here's the
again.
deal,
You could spend your time doing what you wanted.
it's not gonna be that easy because what's gonna happen is they're gonna say, "Okay, here's your universal living, so you can't buy X, Y, and Z with this. So I can't just go to the store and get what I want." I
I mean,
just
that's a dystopian potential outcome. And I agree. I think that's a risk. And I think it's concerning.
yeah.
But remember several months ago when we talked about what is the end goal that many of these people see as like why they're developing AI? Because the reason they would say, oh, you can't buy this with your universal basic income is because that thing is too scarce, or there, you can only buy so much meat every week. You can only buy X number of pounds of salt and sugar a month. You have to ration those things because there isn't enough of it. But if what they think is going to come to fruition comes to fruition, what do they need to ration things for? They've essentially eliminated scarcity. I mean, that's best case
Think that
scenario.
don't think that that's the end all be all that you think it is. I just don't.
I think there's a lot more nuance to it.
I think there likely will be. I'm not saying that this is what's going to happen. This is what I think is going to happen. Again, I'm saying this is what they see as the future. I don't think they're right. Again, I'm not advocating for this.
Question
I'm just
Here's
trying
the
to
question
explain the
with that though,
scenario
Boo.
that they think.
If you don't think they're right, but we're giving them carte blanche on AI, what the hell are we doing?
I'm not giving them carte blanche. You're not giving them carte blanche. We don't make those decisions.
I don't know. I don't know. Okay. Have we beat this one enough?
I mean, I think that kind of the last little bit of this that I would like to ask is whether or not we trust I don't know that I trust anybody, much less billionaires, mega corporation owners, like humongous corporations in general. But do we trust people to start building in these safety protocols and to be looking out for us to prioritize safety and well-being and the future over profit?
I think that that's just too broad a question. Some of them, yeah, probably. Many others, absolutely not.
And how do you decide?
You don't.
I was just sitting here
Okay.
thinking, you could be lied to on every one of those aspects about meaning. It's just like Cole saying, you know, their goal is this basic universal,
Income.
uh, but is that really their goal, or is there something much more nefarious in there? Or is there an attempt there that, oh, we're just going to get all the money? We're going to pretend like we are interested in in the little guy, but that's not our real intention. So
I think
I
that's
don't,
likely what's going on in multiple instances.
I don't think you can trust. I don't think we should be just blatantly trustful. I think we have to be very watchful.
Welcome to the dark side, Mom.
I don't like the dark side. I would really like to, I would love to ignore the dark side. I think that's very foolish. So I'm going to keep watching and I'm going to keep asking questions and I'm going to keep reading and hoping that somebody else is listening too.
Do you think that it would be beneficial for these tools to be open source?
Oh, great
I think
question.
that has a similar set of risks. I think it
Yeah.
mitigates some risks and creates others.
Isn't
Mm,
that everything? Every single decision that we make about any everything ever mitigates some
yeah.
Yeah.
risks.
So now you have someone who's not a bad actor for profit, still a bad actor.
Yeah, but I think that you've got a different accountability level there. Like you can see that.
Maybe,
Elizabeth
maybe
Holmes
not.
from Theranos, like all of a sudden, if all of that was out on the table, we would have known much, much sooner that that was all a bunch of hogwash.
Lots of people got taken by that one.
Yep. And in the grand scheme of things, that was a tiny, minuscule scale compared to AI.
Here's what I've been thinking while you've been talking about that. In, I don't know, let's say 10 years, because I think 10 years from now, it's all going to look really different. Is this podcast going to just be somebody looking back and going, look how silly they were just 10 years ago?
Look
They
at
didn't
these
have any
chicken
idea.
littles. The sky is falling.
I mean, it'll be interesting to see.
Or we're prophets. Could go either way.
It could go either way. It's a really big deal, and we need to be at least paying attention.
I don't disagree.
Give me a weird thought.
Okay, so I wanted to stay kind of in this vein. So I have a little bit of a setup for you that comes with a little bit of a story. So imagine walking into work and your boss isn't just remote, your boss isn't human, your boss is some kind of AI. So there is a store, a physical brick and mortar store, retail store in San Francisco, California, who investors have given this AI a budget and all of these tools to run a successful business. And the AI, Luna, is actually running this store. And when I say running, I mean fully running it. She was given her budget, she was given internet access, and she was given one goal to build and operate a profitable retail business. From there, she started handling everything. She chose products, setting prices, hiring employees, scheduling shifts, ordering inventory, even helping design the store. And on one hand, it's kind of impressive. Launched a real store, hired real people because oddly enough, she doesn't have hands and cannot set up said store. So she had to hire people. But she has done all of this and she got the store up and running. But then when you start looking a little bit closer, she has stocked the store with all of these random items, like a shit ton of candles, because those sell, those are popular. Of course, that is going to be profitable and successful. All kinds of weird merch, There's not really much cohesion to these things. Nothing has a price tag on it. So if you are shopping in said store, you have to literally pick up a phone and communicate with Luna, this AI, to say, hey, I'm looking at X candle. How much does it cost for every single item in the whole store?
I bet the
So
profit
it's
margins on candles are a mile wide.
probably,
But
which
here's
is
my
probably why
question,
she
would
bought
she
them.
give you one price and me a different price
Oh,
for the
Probably.
same
interesting.
candle?
Surge pricing on candles. Love it.
I mean,
So
So
how's
who
Luna
knows?
doing
So
as
she
a
has
store
offered
manager?
people's jobs after some very, very short interviews. She has made some very rigid decisions, and at one point even forgot to schedule days for employees to be in the store. As of now, she's down by about $13,000 in the hole, and that's where it starts getting weird because she's not trying to be bad at this. She's just optimizing based on the data that she has. She has no intuition. She has no taste. She has no real understanding of people. She's just focusing
An
on
algorithm.
patterns. Right. And so now imagine your boss is an AI. There's no emotions at play. There is no, oh,
Yet.
well, they're having a bad day. There's no real understanding of you as a person. And if something goes wrong, there's no one to appeal to because your boss is an AI and they're not really real. So,
What do you think an HR issue would be with Luna? I mean, how would she, you know, how would she deal with that? Two people,
What human resources?
I mean, you got people working there. You've got to have human resources.
Not for much longer.
You think?
well, somebody has to unpack all of the candles when they come in.
What happens when Luna gets arms and a body? Why can't they install her into an Optimus Prime?
But she's not
So,
there yet.
so my weird thought is this. Would you consider working for an AI boss?
Definitely not.
Really?
Not right now.
What would
I
it
mean,
take?
here again, here's the thing. To me, that's like asking, would you consider working for a hammer?
There was an interview with a couple of people who Luna has hired for this store, and they're like, I mean, it's a job. It's kind of weird, but I'm getting
I
paid.
bet. Not if she
Mom,
doesn't
would you?
schedule you, you're not.
And not if she doesn't sell anything.
That's the other issue. If she's down $13,000, there's no profit. How long can you continue this way?
How
How
much did
long will
they
you
give
even
her?
have a job?
I want to say they gave her 100 grand. I could be wrong,
I
but I
don't
want to say
know.
they gave her 100 grand. I
I
don't
mean,
know
I
why
could see
she's a
some
her.
benefits. Maybe she pays the bills on time. Obviously, she's not doing, but in my opinion, if she's not ordering the right things, that's because the parameters have not been set very well on what she's supposed
How
to be
long has she
doing.
been a thing? Because it generally takes most small businesses at least a few years to be profitable.
But you should be able to cut that down with AI. Your overheads should be lower. I don't know.
Not until she gets arms.
So, yes, she has been given $100,000. And I want to say it just started within a month.
Okay, but if you've lost $13,000 in a month, this is not encouraging. I mean, maybe that's
What
just
is
startup
lost?
cost. Yeah.
I mean, because to me, again, this is still a lot like going out to an empty field, dropping a hammer and saying, build a house. I mean, coming back 2 weeks later and being surprised when there's no foundation.
I think it's a little bit different, but
Okay, so she's been open since April 1st.
less than a month.
Yes. And she's powered by Anthropic's Claude AI. The concept was it's supposed to be a 3-year experiment where she manages everything inventory, hiring, pricing with her 100 grand.
I can't wait to see where she's at the end of 3 years.
I can't wait to see if she makes it that long.
Certainly
Good
be
point.
interesting. We'll have to keep up with that one.
Yeah, super strange. So find us a good news story, Mom. What you got?
I have kind of an interesting one. In Japan, nursing homes and care centers have begun employing sumo wrestlers and MMA fighters and bodybuilders as caregivers. And it's going over really well. It seems to be very beneficial to all parties involved. The athletes are getting paid in their off season, which they weren't getting paid before. And so they're getting paid. Their deal basically is they work 6 hours a day for the care center, and then they are included in their benefits are 2 hours of paid gym, time, and they also they also get supplements as part of this, but the residents are really loving it because here are these men coming in, and that's another component of this is that normally caregivers, about 70 to 80% is always women, and so now this group of strong, healthy men are walking in and helping these patients at the care centers. And, you know, the little old ladies are having a great time. And the sumo wrestlers are helping transfers and they're going easier. And I mean, it's just one guy said, "My muscles are helping to put the patients at ease." But the patients, it's adding vitality and excitement to the centers, adding that they're helping them, the residents build their strength with standing and turning patients and weightlifting and doing all kinds of things. And so I mean, they said that the athletes have come in and they've presented a very tender and caring side of themselves, and it's just going over really well. So it benefits them because they're getting paid in their off season and they're producing new things for the care centers that are beneficial and the residents like them. So it's kind of a fun and interesting way for a, an
Yeah,
odd
that's
thing
pretty
to
cool.
happen. But
Whoever came up with that idea, pretty smart.
well, he was an ex sumo wrestler. Yeah.
Isn't that
But
funny? I
I,
told Mom, I was like, I wanna know how it went when somebody's like, "You know what we should do? We're having a staffing shortage. We should go
what?
target ex-sumo wrestlers." Yeah,
I
that's a
think it's
great idea.
hysterical. I mean, I'm really impressed that it was an out of the box idea that is working so really well. And everybody just, the videos that I saw, everybody just looked really happy. I mean, the the bodybuilders are walking in and showing off their muscles to all these little old ladies, and
The little
everybody
old
seems
ladies
to
are
be,
loving it.
yeah. I mean, think about this. It would be kind of fun. So
So cute.
I just like the fact that it was a real out of the box idea that's
Yeah.
working to everybody's benefit.
Yeah, beneficial to everyone. That's awesome.
Yeah, fun. So, love you guys.
Love
Love
ya.
you too.